it will be, I don't know. I mean, what goes into something like Hub Zero, based on our experience in projects and the different kinds of components that you have to do to create such a platform, I mean, it's very immense, and there's lots of different components and tools that interact, and so, but nonetheless, a very interesting platform that should, be kept on the radar. And so those are the kind of different tools and services then that I did cover. And then I kind of talked, our group, the GRC, we went and looked at some of the different projects, so particularly scientific domain-specific projects that are making use of cyber infrastructure services, looked at, just actual grids, more general, infrastructure that's been tried to be created to service a more broader community of users, and then also some of the, cloud test beds and cloud environments that are being established now for researchers to establish, and test out this space. And so, I mean, there's certainly many different cyber infrastructure projects. Only touched on a few and probably didn't get into enough detail as to the exact, tools and technologies that they are using. Just more of an indication that there are projects out here that are trying to make use of these services. I mean, the LHC is typically the one that always comes, as one of the front runners of the type of project where they really have a big worldwide organization, with Canada playing a significant part in this as well. I mean, with that one, they do have a very, you could say, homogeneous environment, very homogeneous types of jobs. And so, I mean, they've been able to be successful because of this, I think, limited environment that they're dealing with, and be able to focus on making the technologies work for that. When you start dealing at a more broader level with different types of computing resources, parallel computation, different operating systems that are involved, a lot more of the problems to create solutions for that come out. And so those are, I mean, certainly tackling those more general cases is difficult. I mentioned NEES Grid, which was, looking at, earthquake simulation, mainly a consortium in the United States. And I think they're one of the ones that are adopting one of these Hub Zero-based platforms right now for them. I mentioned Biochem Grid and the International Virtual Observatory Alliance. The IVOA didn't quite settle on any specific middleware. They tried to keep it more open, and they've developed many different standards and solutions themselves for use within that community. In terms of, some of the more well-known grid environments around the world, certainly in the United States, TerraGrid, the U.S.-based grid project, it's coming really to the end of its lifetime right now. I mean, they've provided really a Globus toolkit-based middleware platform. I don't know, how extensively, those middleware services were used versus people just going to individual resources. And I don't know how much of that was really more the pre-web services versions of Globus versus the web service versions of Globus being used there. And they're the ones that had the very significant scientific gateway program. So, I mean, they have been doing a lot in this regard. But it's unclear. So the successor coming up is called Extreme Digital, XD. It's very unclear at this point what the tools and technologies that will be employed there. And there's different groups in the United States that have different opinions on how that should go forward. You have groups like the Open Science Grid and EG, focusing on providing resources to a group of scientific users, not necessarily specific to a particular project. There's quite a variety of virtual organizations making use of that environment. EG, once again, I think I said it before, has been G-Lite based, but now as it's moved forward to EGI project and working with the European Middleware Initiative, is really unifying ARC, G-Lite, Unicore, and a lot of these different things to make a more interoperable, compatible environment. And I certainly know, I think LCG and things like that are exploring the use of cloud environments as well. In Germany, I think they've primarily used the Unicore middleware, dgrid, for example. think DISA, which is EU-funded across European infrastructure. I think that was Unicore. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, like I said, the European have been more focused on Unicore or G-Lite versus the North American environment of Globus. I mean, although there has been use of Globus in other projects around the world as well. So in terms of cloud projects coming up, I mean, certainly in the OGF, there's a lot of emphasis with the open cloud computing interface and a working group there around really creating standard APIs for being able to communicate and provision cloud resources. You have things like the Open Cloud Consortium, the Open Cloud Manifesto. So you could say probably a fair number of organizations trying to do something towards standards-based approach to doing things. You have different test beds that have been established. You have the Open Cloud Test Bed, which has 250 nodes across 6 sites, and it's mainly more as a research base for experimenting and allowing researchers to explore that. You have the Sciences Cloud, which is based, really the Globus group, providing a Nimbus-based cloud for people to try out and explore cloud computing space. You have some of these, commercial academic partner consortiums, Open Cirrus, partnership between HP Lab, Intel, and Yahoo, and partnering with several universities around around the world to explore that. I think Singapore, a few in the States, I can't remember the exact universities on that, but they've been expanding as well. You have the U.S. Department of Energy investing in a project called Magellan, a cloud testbed. There's also initiatives, IBM Google Academic Cloud Computing Initiative, looking at the technologies such as Google MapReduce, Google File System, Hadoop, and so forth. You have, recently also a partnership between NSF and Microsoft Azure, and in providing, to select academic projects, open access to Microsoft Azure. So definitely really a lot of activity on the cloud front right now, much more activity in the social networking side of things. I don't think grid computing technologies are being abandoned. I think they'll play a role in fitting together, but certainly a lot more emphasis in looking at how virtualization and social networking technologies can play and help in these scenarios.